Deep in the heart of the Scottish Highlands, there lies a vast, sprawling body of water that has captured the imaginations of people around the world for generations. This is Loch Ness, a place shrouded in mystery, magic, and legend. For as long as anyone can remember, stories have circulated about a monster that supposedly lives in the dark, murky depths of the loch. Sightings of this creature, known as the Loch Ness Monster, have been reported for centuries, but to this day no one has been able to prove its existence. That's where Dr. Samantha Stone comes in. Samantha is a marine biologist who has devoted her entire career to studying and understanding the world's most mysterious and elusive creatures. And for her, there is no mystery more fascinating than the Loch Ness Monster. For years, Samantha has been studying the loch, collecting data, and analyzing the stories and sightings that have been reported over the years. But despite all of her work, she has never been able to find concrete evidence of the monster's existence. That is, until one fateful day when she was out on the loch in her research vessel, scanning the depths with her high-tech sonar equipment. As she sailed through the water, she suddenly saw something on the screen that made her heart skip a beat. There, in the murky depths, was a massive serpentine shape, moving slowly through the water. Samantha's pulse quickened as she realized that she might finally have proof that the Loch Ness Monster was real. She quickly took a series of photographs and measurements, capturing as much data as she could before the creature disappeared back into the depths. When she returned to shore, she immediately set to work, analyzing the data and images, hoping to finally prove the existence of the elusive monster. As the days turned into weeks and then months, Samantha worked tirelessly on her analysis. She consulted with experts from around the world, seeking their input and opinions. And finally, after months of work, she had her answer. The creature that she had seen on her sonar equipment and photographed with her camera was, without a doubt, the Loch Ness Monster. The news spread quickly, and soon, people from around the world were clamoring to see Samantha's evidence for themselves. The scientific community was stunned, and news outlets from around the globe covered the story. For Samantha, it was a dream come true. She had dedicated her life to studying the world's most elusive creatures, and now she had discovered one of the greatest mysteries of them all. But as the attention around the Loch Ness Monster continued to grow, Samantha began to realize that her discovery came with a heavy responsibility. She knew that the world was watching, and that her work would be scrutinized by skeptics and believers alike. So she continued her work, determined to uncover even more about the Loch Ness Monster and the mysterious world that it inhabited. She spent months on the loch, observing the creature's behavior and gathering as much data as she could, and what she found was astonishing. The Loch Ness Monster was not just a legend or a myth, but a real, living creature with a complex and fascinating biology. Samantha's discoveries changed the world's understanding of the Loch Ness Monster and of the mysterious, unexplored world beneath the water's surface. And as she continued her work, she knew that there were still countless mysteries waiting to be uncovered. For Samantha, the Loch Ness Monster was just the beginning. She knew that there were still other elusive and mysterious creatures out there, waiting to be discovered and studied. And she was more than ready to face any challenge or danger in her quest for knowledge and discovery. As she looked out over the dark, churning waters of the loch, Samantha knew that there was still so much to learn and discover about the world's mysteries, and she was more than ready to take on any challenge that came her way. Over the years, Samantha's research into the Loch Ness Monster continued to yield incredible results. She discovered that the creature was not a primitive dinosaur, as many had once believed, but rather a complex and highly intelligent animal with a unique biology. She also found evidence of a thriving ecosystem in the depths of the loch, filled with countless species of fish and other aquatic life. And as she continued to study the region, she discovered that there were other, even more elusive creatures lurking in the darkness. Despite the ongoing controversy surrounding the Loch Ness Monster, Samantha never wavered in her commitment to scientific exploration and discovery. She continued to devote her life to uncovering the secrets of the world's most mysterious creatures, and her work inspired a new generation of scientists and explorers to follow in her footsteps. Today, the Loch Ness Monster remains one of the world's most enduring mysteries, captivating the imaginations of people around the globe. But thanks to the tireless work of Samantha Stone and other dedicated researchers, we are one step closer to understanding the incredible, magical, and mysterious world that lies beneath the surface of our planet's vast oceans and lakes. Story 2. The Mothman. It was a cold, dark night in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, when a group of 5 friends decided to go for a drive. They were driving along an isolated stretch of Route 62 when they suddenly saw something that would change their lives forever. Standing tall in the darkness was a creature unlike anything they had ever seen before. With wings that spanned at least 10 feet and piercing red eyes, the creature was like a giant moth in human form. Its long, spindly arms hung limply at its sides, and its body was covered in a thick layer of gray fur. The 5 friends were frozen in terror as the creature let out a blood-curdling scream and took flight, soaring into the night sky. This was the first recorded sighting of the Mothman, a legendary creature that would go on to captivate the imagination of people around the world. The Mothman is said to be a winged humanoid with glowing red eyes that appears in the days leading up to disasters or tragedies. It is believed to be a harbinger of doom, warning of impending danger or death. Over the years, countless people have claimed to have seen the Mothman, and many have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of fear and dread in its presence. Some have even claimed to have been physically attacked by the creature, though there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. Despite the lack of hard evidence, the legend of the Mothman has continued to grow, and the town of Point Pleasant has embraced its role as the epicenter of Mothman lore. The town has a Mothman festival and even a Mothman statue that stands tall in the center of the town square. But while the Mothman may be a fascinating and enduring legend, it is also a deeply unsettling one. The idea of a creature that appears before tragedy strikes is deeply unsettling, and the possibility that the Mothman may be real is a terrifying thought. This was something that journalist Sarah Matthews knew all too well. She had been fascinated by the Mothman legend for years and had traveled to Point Pleasant to investigate the phenomenon firsthand. She had interviewed eyewitnesses, pored over old newspaper clippings, and even spent a night in the woods near the site of the first Mothman sighting. But despite all of her research, Sarah had never been able to shake the feeling that the Mothman was more than just a legend. There was something about the story that felt real to her, something that hinted at a deeper truth that was waiting to be uncovered. It was on a chilly November evening that Sarah got the chance to put her theory to the test. She was driving along Route 62, the same road where the Mothman had first been seen, when she saw something moving in the darkness. She slowed down and squinted her eyes, trying to get a better look. It was then that she saw it. A shadowy figure with wings perched on a tree branch just off the side of the road. Its glowing red eyes fixed on her, and Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Despite the fear that gripped her, Sarah knew that this was her chance to uncover the truth about the Mothman. She parked her car and slowly approached the creature, which remained motionless on the branch. As she got closer, she could see that the Mothman's wings were tattered and torn, and its fur was matted and dirty. But there was an intelligence in its eyes that sent shivers down her spine. For a long moment, Sarah and the Mothman just stared at each other, neither of them moving or making a sound. And then, with a sudden burst of motion, the creature took to the air and disappeared into the night. Sarah was left standing there, stunned and amazed. She had seen the Mothman with her own eyes, and now she was more convinced than ever that there was something more to this legend than just a tall tale. Over the next few weeks, Sarah spent every waking moment trying to uncover the truth about the Mothman. She scoured old newspaper articles, interviewed experts in the fields of folklore and mythology, and even dug through government archives in search of any information that might shed light on the creature's origins. It was during one of these late-night research sessions that Sarah stumbled upon a document that changed everything. It was a top-secret report from the U.S. government that described a series of experiments involving genetic modification in human-animal hybrids. As Sarah read through the report, she began to feel sick to her stomach. The experiments had been conducted in secret with no oversight or regulation, and had resulted in the creation of several hybrid creatures, including one with the ability to fly and glowing red eyes. The implications of this discovery were staggering. The Mothman, it seemed, was not a natural creature, but the result of a horrifying experiment gone wrong. It was no wonder that the creature had appeared before so many disasters and tragedies. It was a living symbol of the dangers of unchecked scientific advancement. Sarah knew that she had to share her findings with the world, to warn others of the potential dangers of these kinds of experiments. But as she prepared to publish her story, she began to feel a sense of unease. What if the government didn't want this information to get out? What if they would do anything to keep the truth about the Mothman hidden? Sarah knew that she was taking a risk by publishing her findings, but she also knew that the truth needed to be told. The day that her story was published, Sarah received a flood of responses. Some from people who were grateful for the warning, and others who accused her of being a conspiracy theorist. But the most unsettling response of all was the one that came from the government itself. Men in dark suits began following Sarah, watching her every move, and sending her threatening messages. They warned her to stay quiet, or else she would suffer the consequences. Despite the danger, Sarah refused to back down. She continued to investigate the Mothman, uncovering new information and piecing together a story that was as fascinating as it was horrifying. In the end, her reporting made a difference. The government was forced to acknowledge the experiments, and there was a public outcry against the dangers of unchecked scientific research. Sarah's story had shone a light on a dark corner of the world and had sparked a conversation that was long overdue. As for the Mothman itself, it remained a mystery. Some still believed that it was a supernatural creature, while others saw it as a warning of the dangers of genetic engineering. But no matter what people believed, one thing was certain. The Mothman was a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world that have yet to be explained. And as long as there are mysteries, there will always be people like Sarah, willing to risk everything to uncover the truth. For in the end, it is only through the pursuit of truth that we can hope to understand the world around us and the creatures that inhabit it.